Hello and welcome. Today's practice will be a yin practice, so slow, mindful. It will all be on the ground. We hold the poses for a little bit longer than normal, and you will stretch deep into muscles and joints. If you have a blanket, it really adds a lot of comfort to your hips and knees. If you can spread it out on the mat, I have a cork block today and a bolster. Grab a pillow from your bed if you don't have a bolster. And then when you're ready, come and join me on hands and knees to begin with, and then start to lower all the way down onto your belly. Bring in your third eye, or the spot between your eyes, to the edge of the block. Move your hips from side to side. Maybe move your thighs and knees a little bit, creating a bit more space into the tops of your hips, hip flexors. And just that slow, mindful movement, side to side. And then start to bring your right knee out to the side. You don't want it any higher than your hip. My hip bone is here and my knee has come straight out to the side. And then lower your head back down just for a couple of breaths. And then come up onto your forearms so that we're combining Sphinx pose with a stretch, a half frog, a stretch into the hip. I like to hold my block here between my hands. And I keep some sort of sense of pushing up through my elbows and relaxing through my glutes and lower back. Just a couple of breaths left on this side. And then bringing your head back down, lengthen your leg to join the other one and start to move your hips from side to side again. And then we'll come to the other side. So bringing your left knee out directly to the side. Take a couple of deep breaths here. And once your hip is used to being out to the side, start to come up into Sphinx pose. Getting used to this shape. And then pushing down into the elbows a little bit, you might see that I start to move upwards. Nice deep breaths here. Couple of more breaths on this side. And then extending the left leg. Just pause here in Sphinx pose. for a few rounds of breath. You might push down on the elbows and rise taller through the shoulders and the upper chest, just for the final few rounds of breath. See if you can relax your shoulder blades down your back a little bit. And then we're going to take the right knee out to the side again. And this time thread the left arm underneath the armpit of the right arm. Bring your head down to the ground for a moment. You've got a block here if that's too far. I tuck my back toe under and push forward. Just a few rounds of breath here, stretching into the shoulder. And then we're going to turn this into a twist. So threading the left arm through more, start to come onto your left hip. And then you can open the right arm up and over, coming onto your back. And you'll see my right knee is dangling here. And that's when I'll grab my bolster, stick it under my knee, and I can relax here. This pose really gets into the right knee and up through the right waist, the ribs, my shoulders. You can take the opportunity to really breathe into the belly. You might even take a hand just to encourage that deeper awareness. You want to stay here for at least 10 deep inhales and exhales. From here, I'm not going to come back onto my belly straight away. I'm going to shuffle onto my back. I'm going to move the bolster to the other side so I'm ready. And then I'm going to hug that same right knee into my chest. And it's often easier just with one hand. So I'm going to just use the right hand to get some really deep rotations going one way and then come back the other way. And then it's time to repeat the whole sequence. So come again back on to your belly. Bring your head back down. Start to take the left knee out to the side. And then this time it's the right arm that threads under the left armpit. And we're just going to stay here in a little bit of a shoulder stretch into the right shoulder for a few rounds of breath. I'm letting as much weight as I'm happy to go into the shoulder, using my own body weight to get a really good stretch around the back of my shoulder blade. And then turning this into a twist. So threading my left arm through even further, coming onto my right hip. And then the top arm, the left arm, comes up and over towards the ground. And you might be able to see me rocking. Find where your body is happy, and then grab either your pillow or your bolster and stick it under the left knee. On the second side, it's always such a good opportunity to compare one side to the other. So just to spend a few seconds taking note of the stretch into the hip, into the ribs, the shoulders. And then come to those deep belly breaths. Remember at least 10 deep inhales. Another couple of breaths here. And then coming onto your back. Extending the right leg and hugging that left leg into the chest. And then using the left hand, moving the hips in some big circles. Doesn't matter which way you go first, just make sure you go both directions. And then we're going to come onto your hands and knees again, so turning again so that you're facing the mat. Come into table. And then we're going to come into puppy pose. So walking the arms out in front of you. My knees are underneath my hips. This is where the blanket's really handy because your knees might start to get sore. I like to come down onto my forearms, and again I'm going to make use of the block here and hold on to it. And then melting heart and my forehead down towards the mat. I'm just going to show you, if you're happy where you are, stay there. But for anyone who feels like that's a really big stretch into your shoulders, you can put the blanket or a bolster underneath your chest and just use it to stop yourself from going too far, too deep. It lets you relax a little bit more. Just a couple of more breaths here. And then start to come back up. You will, if you've been following my videos, you'll notice that I like using props. They really can make your muscles and joints feel quite safe, which in turn helps you to relax, especially if you have lower back problems or hip stiffness. We're going to come into pigeon now. So I like to get there from downward facing dog. So come onto your hands and knees, tuck your toes, and lift your hips. We'll start in a moment with the left leg. Just walk your heels for a few little stretches into your hamstrings and calf muscles. And then lifting your left leg towards the ceiling. Bend the knee, and then you bring the left knee towards the left wrist, placing your foot across the mat. Walk your back thigh back, and then I always pause, stretching upwards first, coming up onto my fingertips before I reach forward and start to come down onto my forearms. Again, there's a few uses of props here. You can have a couple of blocks and just stay forward here. Or what is quite nice is to put one underneath your sternum and one underneath your forehead. Try and take your breath so expand your back ribs. Feel the breath come up underneath your shoulder blades. Feel the ribs move out to the side. One of the benefits of having a block underneath your third eye is that you can then begin to move your head from side to side, massaging across your eyebrows. Last breath here. And then start to come back up. It's going to move the block from the middle of the mat, tuck my back toe under and lift up, coming back to a downward facing dog. You can always access Pigeon from table. And then preparing for Pigeon on the other side. My right leg, so lifting the right leg, bend your knee and bring the knee through to your right wrist. The foot's across the mat. Walk your back leg back. Come up onto your fingers, stretching up tall, head reaches towards the ceiling. And then on your next exhale, come all the way down. I'm going to have the block underneath my sternum again and one underneath my forehead. Once your body's got used to the shape, again, bring your focus to your breath. See if you can really move the back ribs, the shoulder blades. As you exhale, relax into the back of the neck. Couple of more breaths here. And then start to lift, lifting the head, coming back up onto your fingertips. Next pose is going to be on your back. So I'm going to come onto my right hip, swing my leg around, and bring my legs in front of me. For the next pose, you can either use a block or a bolster, so whatever level of comfort you're after. Because today I wanted my practice to be a little bit more yin than restorative, I'm going to use my blocks. So shuffle in onto your back, come in to a position where your feet are on the ground. Because these blocks are quite narrow, I'm going to put both of them together to make it a little bit higher. And I'm going to push down, lift my hips and place the blocks underneath my lower back and the tops of my glutes, coming into a supported bridge. So you could easily be doing this with a pillow or a bolster. I find the blocks a little bit firmer. And then you can either just rest your hands on your ribs, take them out to your side. But I'm going to interlace them nice and softly just above my head. My feet are quite firm upon the ground. And then I'm going to come again back to my breath. And for this final pose of the practice, I'm going to come to a breath of 4-6 so that the exhale is 2 beats longer than my inhale. So breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, and out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, and out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're quite happy here and your back is not hurting, you could extend one leg out longer. The foot stays on the ground. You'll feel the stretch immediately into the front of your hip and hip flexor. Come back to your inhale for 4 and exhale for 6, counting softly to yourself. Swapping feet if you've got one leg extended. Just letting the leg creep out, remembering to keep the heel on the ground. One last round of breath. And then bringing both feet back to the ground. Take your feet just slightly wider and just little movements, almost like a little mini windscreen wiper swaying. If you're on blocks, you'll definitely feel this feels like a lovely little massage into your lower back, your sacrum. And then rather than Shavasana, I'm going to end with an adapted legs up the wall. So bringing the feet back together, lifting the knees up. Haven't quite come to my chest. I'm going to take my hands to the tops of my thighs and then extend my legs up and let them hang out here. You'll see that my knees are bent. I'm going to release my shoulder blades. My lower back's balanced up on the blocks. You flex your feet and circle them. You don't have to have your hands on the thighs if that becomes too uncomfortable. You might just want to relax your shoulder blades a little bit more and take your arms wide again. Come back to the longer exhale. Breathing in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and softly out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feel free to turn me off now and stay here for as long as you want. Or if you're finishing with me, lower your heels towards your bottom. Take your feet to the ground and then pushing up, nice and carefully remove any props. Hug the knees to the chest. Rock and roll from side to side. And that's it for today. I hope you are feeling stretched, your muscles and hips a little bit more comfortable. Thank you again for joining me. Namaste.